Welcome to the lazyfluency podcast, where we have casual conversations switching between English and Japanese, so that you can learn from and with us along the way. I'm Joey.
And I'm Miami.
And the topic of the day is...
正月.
But before we get into that, make sure to like, subscribe, follow, and or drop a review on whatever platform you're listening on. We appreciate the support. And with that out of the way...
正月. はい。
Happy New Year's! Yay!
はい、明けましておめでとうございます。
Although I believe it will be like January 2nd or 3rd by the time this gets uploaded. But
それ
still.
で今、レコーディングしているのが、ちょうど1月1日で元旦なので、ちょうど明けましておめでとうなんだけど、でも、
明けましておめでとう。
ね、はいはい。これがリリースされるのはちょっと遅いから、まあ、そういうことで、ちょっと勘弁してくださいという。
Yeah. And
で、まあ、
this time,
はいはい。
Yeah, go ahead.
今日はね、正月ということで、せっかくだからちょっと、どうやって正月を過ごすとかね、いろいろ話していきたいなと思いますと。はい。
Yeah, with not just Japan, but also my roots, which come from both America and Panama. But I guess we can start with Japan. So, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. まず、お正月、年末年始の過ごし方なんだけど、大晦日っていう言葉を、知ってる人はわかるけど、知らない人は、大晦日っていうのは、12月31日ね。お正月、
Yeah.
違う。元旦の1日前のこと。で、大晦日の日にいろいろ日本ではやるのね。
Oh, on 大晦日?
そう、大晦日と、あと正月になってからやることなんだけど、また大晦日にもやることがあるの。
Okay. Well, what?
はい。
I actually didn't know that. Yeah.
あ、そうだね。なんか何も知らない一個も。
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was mostly just New Year's Day.
あ、そうか。とりあえずじゃあ何をやるかっていうので、じゃあちょっと言っていくので、はい。まずは大掃除をするのね。もうbig clean up する。
Okay. That's like in America, it's like spring cleanup. It's funny. Maybe people clean up at the beginning of the year, but my impression is that happens during the spring for some reason.
あ、そう、なんでわかる。しかも、スプリングってあれでしょ？あ、夏からさ、学校の新学期が始まるから、そういうわけでもない？
No, spring, not summer. There's something called, maybe it's separate from New Year's, but our big spring cleanup comes during the spring.
あ、そう。
I do not know why, but yeah.
ほうほう。いや、それで多分、大晦日までに、大掃除をする理由としては、多分ね、いい気持ち、新しい気持ちで新年を迎えたいからいらないものを捨てたり、あと部屋をきれいにして、ね、待ち構えるみたいな感じで、はい、やることが多いと。はい。で、あとは年賀状を書く。年賀状っていうのはね、多分日本のね、独特な文化だと思うんだけど、どうですか？
Yeah, yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, like as in specifically like writing the cards or the yeah. I think people like it is common to send people Christmas cards, but not actually New Year's. I don't think I've ever received a New Year's card.
じゃあそのクリスマスのカードが日本でいう正月みたいな、違う、年賀状みたいな感じかな。そう。
Yeah.
年賀状にはそれぞれなんか自分でデザインしたり、なんか、なんて言うんだろう。もうすでにプリントされた、やつを使ってコメント書いたり、あとはね、そうだね。今年はうさぎ年だから、そっか、干支とかもわかんないよね、多分。
Yeah, what's it called, the solstice?
それ、わかんない。
I think it's like was it like the winter equinox or something? Or like the 7th, I remember, I looked into this at some point.
12? まあいいや。12頭の動物がいて、それぞれの12年で、その1年間、その動物の年みたいなのあるんだけど、で、今年はうさぎ年なの。
The Chinese New Year? Or the Chinese, it's like the Chinese, like the bunny,
いや、チャイニーズじゃない。
rat.
チャイニーズなのか。
I
わ
thought it
か
was
んない。
Chinese. I'm pretty sure that originally it's Chinese. The twelve animals and the rotating every like 10 years with
あ、
people's
そうそう
birth
そうそ
ox. That's Chinese. Yeah.
う。かな。まあいいや。で、それの、まあ今年うさぎ年だから、うさぎがテーマの年賀状を書くと。はい。
Does that have to do with the
で、
moon by any chance? Because like the moon is supposed to be a rabbit in Japan
い
or
や、
whatever.
ね、それは関係ないんだけど、なんか確かね、覚えてんのが、なんかの逸話で、その、12種類の動物がいて、で、なんか、旅があって、その、一番最初についた、動物が、一番最初の、の一番最初になって、で、2番目のについた動物が2番目になってっていうやつがあって、で、確か、そういう物語があるんだよ。なんていうか忘れたけど、そうそう。まあ、月は関
Yeah,
係ないと思う。
I saw a complete. The only thing I've seen related to the what are they called? It's very common to talk about in English as well. I'm just blanking on the term. That I think, but the only thing I've seen that's related to that is an anime called Juni Taisen, which is about like a bunch of humans that are personified by each of these 12 different animals, and they basically go into a battle royale and kill each other. Completely not how the normal story goes, but there's also an anime called Fruits Basket that is based around the 12. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of Fruits Basket.
フルーツバスケット
The
知らない。
Japanese title is the same, Fruits Basket.
へー。
It's like a shoujo manga and anime.
ふんふんふんふん。
But yeah, and each character like has a personality resembling one of the 12 animals. Anyways,
まあ、
go
は
ahead.
い、anyways。あとは年越しそば食べる。これはね、わしはやってないね。そばって多分長いから長生きするようにみたいな、そういう意味だと思う。
Oh,
で、
okay.
そうそう、あとは、大晦日だとテレビ番組をみんなで見るのね。このテレビ番組っていうのがいろいろあって、NHK ってまあ、国がやってるテレビ番組だと、紅白歌合戦っていうのがもう定番で、男の歌手が白組で、女の歌手が赤組になって、で、なんかバトルするみたいな感じ。
What? Wait, what?
まあまあ、
Wait, this
多分
has
分か
to
る
be
人
a
は分かる。
recent. This has to be a recent tradition because
まあ、リセントっていうか、まあ、結
the
構もう昭和
television.
と
Yeah, I'm saying like if it involves a specific I wonder how recent NHK
あ
and
あね、
this
確かに。
specific
これ
program are. It
を
can't be that
うんうん、
like ancient of a
江戸時代と
tradition.
かはないと思うよ。うん。さすがに。
Yeah.
け
I
ど
remember back
まあ
in
まあ、
Jomon where the original Japanese people used to. No, I don't know.
最近だね、これは。最近っていうかまあ、近代になってから。で、まあ他の番組にもなんか、もう多分5、6時間続いてるね、スペシャルのね、長いやつとか、私昨日は、逃走中っていう、なんか、なんていうの、鬼ごっこみたいな感じのやつを見てて、そうそうそう。いろんな番組がちょっとね、なんていうの、みんなに見てもらいたいから頑張ってると。
Are they actually
はい。
good? To me, that sounds like every time I've seen Japanese television, it's like torturous. So I can't imagine watching 5 to 6 hours of
多分ね、
Japanese television.
うん。ジョイはちょっと気に入らないと思うよ。だっていつも日本のテレビの文句ばっかり言ってるから。
It's so terrible. We should. I was inspired recently. A very popular Japanese YouTuber called Abroad in Japan did 12 things he doesn't like about Japan. And with all my complaining, I would much enjoy doing a video like that.
わ
But yeah, anyways, we'll save that for later.
あとは、まあこれがメインなんだけど、初詣に行くね。で、まあ初詣っていうのは正月になってから行ってもいいんだけど、大晦日の夜に行って、で、お寺で、なんだ、新年を迎えるっていう人もいるのね。
Mm-hmm.
そうそう。だから、初詣を、この12月31日の夜から行く人もいるから、まあそれも大晦日にやると。はい。
Oh, wait, okay, but primarily it's done on New Year's Day?
そうだ
As in
ね。
today?
まあ、
Okay.
どっちでもいい。
So I'm saying which day would be the most crowded? If we were to go, if I went today, would it be like in Tokyo or something? Would it be
まあ
completely
1月
crowded with
1
people?
日から3日は一番混むと思うよ。で、
Oh,
その
3日. So you can go, it's like, it's a multi-day thing.
マルティデーだね。あと、1月の年が明けて、1月1日の、まあ、夜、1月1日の、なんだ、深夜12時から1月7日ぐらいまでなんだって。
What is it? So obviously I know that you go up like bow, whatever. Is there anything, is it really, aside from if there was no line, really long line, would Hatsumode only take like 2 seconds?
まあそうだね。だから、私、行くときは、ちょっと、期間空けても1月5日とか、全然混んでないし。そう、だからもう、お祈りするだけだから。うん。
Yeah. I mean, I find that interesting. It's not, so that's not, that you have to choose something else to do while you're also doing Hatsumode then, or else you're just like.
でも、やっぱりさ、ちょっと有名なとこ行きたいじゃん。有名で大きいさ、お寺だったりね。行きたいから、みんなそこ行って混むっていうのが、まあ、はい。正月に起こることかな。
Is there any, like, when do you eat osechi? Because I know that it is eaten. And can you explain what that is?
今からね、ちょうどね、言おうとしてたんだけど、おせち料理っていうのは、まあ、絶対日本しかないんだけど、これは、家族が、まあ、いいことが起きやすいようにって言って食べるもので、お正月に食べるのね。
Yeah.
で、そうね、三が日っていうのは1月1日から3日で、
So it's a 3-day thing.
でも毎日食べなくてもいいんだよ。
What? Oh, hold up. So, no, hold up. I'm saying, oh, this is so interesting. Okay, so my perception, I thought everything, you know what I'm saying, for going back to the Christmas celebrations that we sort of talked about, or maybe you didn't talk about them, whatever. But with as much as I can think, a lot of American holidays like start and end on the same day. But it's interesting. This is like, you kind of have a period of time to do any one of these things. It's not like my thought of like osechi was everybody comes together and has one giant dinner with a bunch of like osechi. Is that not how it happens?
そうだね、なんかね、まあ親戚も集まるのかな。そうね。で、なんか何段にもなってるおせちで、その中に20、30種類あるのか。へえ。で、まあいろいろ中に入ってるんだけど、それぞれの食材になんか意味があるの。その
Like good or bad? What does it mean?
いい意味。それはもちろんなんか長生きだったり、なんか健康とかなんとか。で、それぞれの意味はもちろん私はよくわかってないんだけど、で、それを、願うために食べるっていうのが、まあ、そう、やることかな。あと、これも面白いね。お年玉っていうのもある。お年玉は多分日本のね、伝統っていうか、お年玉知ってる？
Yeah. As like, isn't that receiving money from your relatives, basicking?
そう。receiving bribe っていうのは嘘で。
Bribes?
お金、だいたいこれも年齢によるんだけど、まあちっちゃい子は多分、まあ、何千円とか、まあ5000円とかかなわかんないけど。で、まあもうちょっと年齢が高くなると1万円とかを、親戚からもらったりするの。で、自分が、なんていうの、社会人になったらあげる側になるっていうのが、まあ、風習。
That ruins it. That to me that just feels like I'm paying into like Social Security. I'm like America. Yeah, I'm not sure if you know anything about American Social Security, but yeah, you pay in taxes through your job, and then when you get older, it pays you back. So it's a weird one time of year Social Security system, it seems. Who and how many people do you have to give otoshidama to?
まあこれもね、it depends なんだよ。なんかここに書いてあったのは、家族とか親戚の中だったら、まあ、なんていうの、おじさんおばさんが自分 おじさんおばさんが私にくれるとか、おじいちゃんおばあちゃんが私にくれるだけど、会社とかだったらボスが、なんだろう、部下とかにあげたり、師匠が
Wait, the
弟子にあげたり。
damn. Wait, the boss. Wait, so I'm wondering how this works at larger corporations. What,
そうね、
like
わ
your
かんない。なん
direct
かこれも、
supervisor or something? Is it like the CEO has to give away $1 billion or something at the end of
わ
the
から
year?
ない。それはだからもう個人個人やりたいかやりたくないかであれなんじゃない？なんか
Oh, okay. I'm
It's
thinking
like-
there isn't like a hard expectation. You know what I'm talking about for like White Day, as we discussed earlier with chocolates.
あ、そうね、そうね。
The idea is you have to return the chocolate you were given, right? At the very least.
そ
So
うね
I'm saying with Toshidama, is there like you have to give it to everybody and then,
Yeah.
or if you give it to somebody, does that mean that in the future they have to well, no, I guess you can't give it back to them because they'll be dead if you're old, probably.
どういうこと？
So for White Day, there's you receive chocolates and then you have to return them. But for Toshidama, you receive money, but then when you grow up and get older, the people who gave you money probably died. So, you know what I'm saying? If you're like
ま
a
あ、
kid
違う違
receiving
う。
money for your
返さ
parents.
ないよ、返さないよ。まあ、要するに自分がボスになったりとか、自分が大人になったら、自分の目下の人にあげないといけないから、
Yeah.
結局、なんていうの、まあ、循環していくわけよ。だから、ずっと人生の中でお年玉をもらい続けるってことはないかな。まあ、ずっとニートだったらどうかわかんないけど。
In a way, that also is kind of similar to Christmas. Like, although you do give gifts to everybody, but generally when you're obviously a parent or whatever, you end up being the one giving gifts, primarily to your children.
まあ、そうだね、そうだね。
Or at least more than they give to you. Yeah.
そうだね。まあ、プレゼントギビングはまあ、あれだね。もらって渡すっていうもんね。それと一緒。そうそう。
I have a question about some other celebrations that are done in the US. I'm wondering if they're done in Japan.
Okay.
So the first one, I think it's the most common that everybody knows about, is New Year's resolutions. So things that you want to improve upon, a plan or whatever, things you want to do in the next year. Is that a thing?
はい。やるね、やるね。抱負って言って、抱負って言うんだけど、新年の抱負。
抱負。
漢字は、抱く抱っこの抱くに、負ける。
Okay. Yeah.
そうそうそう。抱負っていうので、まあ、resolution でね。そうそう。まあ、決める人も決めない人もいるし、まあ、そこは。
Yeah. I mean, for some, it's weird to me, since I'm currently in Japan, I don't actually like, currently Japan's New Year's or Japan's Christmas, I don't feel as the real New Year's or the real Christmas. So, because I'm so used to like the American time zone that I have primarily grown up in. And because of that, I'm like, yeah, whatever. I still have time. I still have time for the American time zone to decide that. But yeah, okay. So you're saying that's done. Here's some other ones, if I can go through them. This is another, I think this is pretty common in not just America, whatever, but doing like fireworks, like on midnight, like staying up to midnight and having like a New Year's party or something like that. With like family or friends.
あるとは思うけど、そんなにアメリカほどではないと思う。なんかどちらかというと日本だとね、お寺とかのがメインかな。お寺のゴーンゴーンっていう鐘とか、そっちのがメインかな。
That's kind of lame. For at least in terms of, yeah. No hanging out with the bros? No hanging out with the bros on New Year's night?
だから、親戚集まるよ。どういうこと？
No, I'm saying the bros means not just your relatives. I mean, so that's another. New Year's is like almost like a party day in the US, sort of, depending.
でもそれもね、人によると思うよ。だからそういうパーティーしたい人はそういうパーティーするとこ行くし。まあ、コモンではないと思うけど。
I mean not outside. I don't mean travel. I mean like, you know what I'm saying? Everybody comes to somebody's house and you party with.
そうだからそういうことしたい人はするんじゃない？うんうん。
But do you think it's common?
わかんないな。コモンじゃないかもしれない。
Okay. Here's some other, I think this kind of aligns with some of the superstition that you were talking about. I don't know how much. So you said some of the food for Sichi brings certain sort of meaning. I don't know if you mean good luck or something for the next year, but there are some funny traditions, at least that I personally, I don't know if celebrate is the right word, but as a account of my mom doing them, I assume these would have to be Panamanian traditions or something, where the first one, which I find the most interesting, I don't know if this is or not, but it's something my mom always does on New Year's, is she gets a bunch of suitcases and then like fills them up with clothes and stuff, and then at midnight, which is funny because it's like really cold and snowy where I live in America, especially around this time. She'll run around like the block with these filled up suitcases, and it's like a sign that next year you'll be able to travel more. Do you know of any? Yeah, go ahead.
本当にパラマのあれなの？それともたださ、ジョイのさ、マムがやりたいだけなの？
I don't think so. I think it's something that I think it comes from somewhere. But yeah, it's hilarious. And it's freezing. I've done it before. It's just cold, obviously.
ね、そりゃそうだね。パナマは、まあ、もちろん雪は降らないよね。だから、それやりやすい、ね。
yeah. So, yeah, that'd be much better. Yeah. People spam, like, I think it probably depends where you're at, but in Panama, fireworks are massive. Like, they're the second it hits New Year's, the entire country just like explodes, basically. With like everybody's just shooting fireworks.
In America, 家族がやるの?
Oh no, we technically. Oh wait, you mean it? Yeah. In Panama, yeah, but in America, like there's a lot of like bottle rocket prohibition, or not prohibition is the wrong word, but yeah, it is not legal in a lot of different areas because of fire risks and other stuff. So I don't even know how unless you live like outside city limits in a lot of places, I don't think you're allowed to fire them. Yeah, which is a bummer. You can do small fireworks. What?
他にパナマのなんかやつある?
I don't know if these are Panamanian. I know that these are things that I've done before and actually frequently when I'm in like America, or at least in my family's house. We eat like a bag of beans. Or no, sorry, we don't eat a bag of beans. We eat lentils, which are a type of bean. This might be religious. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah. And then the other one, is it's a bag of beans that you put inside your wallet for good luck. I don't entirely know what that. The thing is, it's so cumbersome and annoying that my mom will like give me this bag of beans, and then I'll immediately not put it in my wallet because it makes your wallet impossible to handle or get anything out of.
へえ。てか今さ、パナマの言ってくれたけど、アメリカはなんかもっとさ、クレイジーなことしないんだね、なんか。想像。
I mean, like I said, that's not our main thing. I mean, the biggest thing I can think of is you do like a countdown with your friends before. Like, New Year's is really celebrated on the 31st, like the night of the 31st. And it's really just, basically you have a party or whatever, and then at the end of that party, you count down what 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and go wah, and then everybody drinks or like goes the equivalent of like kanpai.
なんか絶対さ、昔の人さ、カウントダウンしたいんじゃなくてさ、飲みたいからさ、カウントダウンしてるんじゃない？ただ。
Yeah, I mean, I think people, especially. Oh, actually, something that I'm interested about is why Japan celebrates New Year's using the same time, like with the Gregorian calendar. I wonder when that started, because like China has its own New Year, right? And Japan has its own system of counting, at least the generations, the jidais we've discussed. But I don't actually know much about why or if Japan uses a different had a different system for counting the day in a year. Do you know anything about that?
そう、なんかちょうどね、私、 台湾ニーズの生徒に日本語を教えてるっていうのをやってて、で、ちょうどフリーコンバセーションでその話題になったんだけど、なんか日本は昔、チャイニーズのニューイヤーね、旧正月を祝ってたんだけど、でも、その、明治時代に、ちょっと西洋化されたのね。明治維新なんか。
Yeah.
それで、今まで祝ってた旧正月っていう文化がなくなって、ただ普通の正月だから、
I wonder what happened before they celebrated the Chinese New Year because
そこまでは
there's obviously a
わかんない。
big like during Jomon forward. If that was obviously there wouldn't be. I wonder when they had a sense of when Japan or what we know as like the modern Japanese people started tracking the any notion of like a year with like you know what I'm saying because obviously probably they didn't for a while, like it wasn't a thing. They probably knew about the seasons or obviously lived like farming and stuff like that, but I wonder when like an actual calendar system came into place and if there was a calendar system they used before they adopted the Chinese system and then got were forced to adopt the Western system. Something I find so interesting, just as a side note about the emperor and like Meiji and whatever. Anytime I'm thinking of like Imperial Japan, and maybe other Americans feel a similar way, you're thinking, oh, this is very Japanese. It's all about maintaining the Japaneseness. Like during World War II, as I mentioned before, there was a ban on using katakana. But the emperor is what basically brought and like solidified a lot of the extremely Western stuff that Japan had or has. Like Tokyo train station or like Kyoto's train station, they look like somebody just dropped off some buildings from like Britain. And they're just in the middle of Japan.
はい、
for those who haven't seen them
確か
before.
にね、東京駅、多分行ったことある人はわかると思うけど、結構ね、昔ながらの、綺麗な建築なんだけど、でもちょっと、明治時代に、その、海外から取り入れた感じの、デザインなのね。
Yeah, well, it's not even this. It just straight up looks like it does. There's no Japaneseness in the.
あれはあれで綺麗なんだよ。そう。だから。
Yeah,
まあ、
sure.
しょうがない。
I'm saying it's not very Japanese, or at least traditionally Japanese. But yeah, anyways, before we go too long, yeah, Happy New Year's, everyone. It has not been a year since we've done the podcast, but yeah, I guess it's a good time to say, yeah, thank you for all listeners, the people listening to our podcast now. This is obviously, we started this podcast year, and we are still going through New Year's. We are approaching our 1 year anniversary, although that'll still be a little
2
while
月
from
ぐら
now.
いだね。
Yeah. But yeah, have a good new or I guess 2023.
2023
and yeah, thanks so
どん
much
な
for
年になる
listening.
でしょうか。はい。
戻った。
We are back.
今回先週多分アメリカと日本の交通機関についてちょっと話したと思ってたんだけど、今回は私が思ったことは、そのいい交通機関があると実はいろんな悪い影響もある。
So, what is the problem having the good transportation?
なぜこのことについて思ってるかというと、その私が結構ボードゲームとビデオゲームが好きだけど、オンラインでやるのが好きじゃない。主に実際に友達となんか誰かの家に行ってそこで遊べるのが一番好き。でも日本に関してはみんなはそんなことしない。なんか他の人の家に行くよりもなんかカラオケに行ったり自分の家以外の場所に行くのが定番だと思う。でしょ？
いや、
それで多分それがなんか内と外の概念があるんだけど、日本語に関してはそのなんか家族の人に関する人、関連してる人は家に来られるんだけど、その他人の他の人は家に来られないという習慣もあるかもしれませんが、私が思ってたのはもうその交通機関がいいからこういう問題というかこういう習慣になってたのかもしれない。最近の現代日本に関しては。で、つまり、 アメリカの場合だと、田舎とかどこに住んでいるときに、自分の交通機関がすごく悪いから、車があっても、他の人の家とか、他の場所に行くのはすごくめんどくさい。時間かかる。それで、何でしたっけ？時間がかかるから、他の遠い場所に行かない。普段は。ということは、他の人を、レストランとか、他の場所に出会うとしたら、学校とか、その人は絶対、仕事の場合、絶対に自分の家に近い、絶対っていうか、その可能性が高い。なんかわかる？
Yeah, so you're saying that since we have how do I say like inside and outside culture, so like our family and our house isn't open for outsiders, like outsiders っていうかstrangers or friends. So that's why we develop our transportation to
いやい
go.
や、ちょっとなんていう、私の説明は難しいかもしれないけど、私言ってるのは、なんかアメリカだと、他の遠い場所に行きたいとき、結構時間かかる。5時間、7時間、8時間。日本だと、なんか1時間とか30分とかかかる。その地下鉄はあるから。それで他の自分の家から遠い場所、というか、日本ではその遠いというイメージが結構違います。なんか日本の遠いは、なんか千葉県とか、他の県に住んでると、なんか東京まで行ける。1日で。1時間とか2時間で。それで、誰かとなんか東京で会ったとしたら、その人は多分、東京に住んでない。他の東京に近いところに、近いというか、2時間から離れてるところに住んでる。つまり、その人が自分の家に来たかったら、4時間かかる。わかる？
I don't understand. You mean like a round trip?
そう、いえ、なんか2人の人がいる。で、東京は真ん中にある。1人の人は2時間か、東京に行くために2時間かかる。他の人も2時間かかる。
Okay.
それで、最初の人から、その他の人の家までは4時間かかる。わかる？
Oh yeah. So we instead of going to each other's house, they meet in the like middle.
The middle.
Yeah.
そう。
So
でも、なんかアメリカとの違いってアメリカでは自分が田舎の方に住んでるとき、例えばその東京以外の田舎の県がたくさんあると思うけど、東京まで行かない。アメリカの場合は、その都市まで行かない。自分の周りにあるものに行く。レストランとか、カラオケじゃないけど、その店とかに行く。そのために、そのレストランとか他のとこに行くときに、その人で出会った人は、実は多分、その近いとこに住んでる。その家は。なんか1マイルとか。それで、みんながお互いの家に行けることが、行くことができる。でも日本の場合だとみんながすごくなんていうか車持たなくてもどこでも行けるので、その誰かと出会ったらその人は多分確率的に自分の家から遠いってことを思った。
Right. Yeah. So I've never had my friends in my house, so I don't think in Japan we don't invite people to our houses, so that's a cultural difference maybe.
それもあるけど今話してるのがちょっと他の理由になるかもしれない。
It's one of the reasons, right?
いえ、これ私個人的に思ったこと今週で他の問題はその交通機関がいい国に関しては東京についての話してると東京の周りの田舎の方はなんかあんまり発展しない。その技術的にとかその地域の交通機関もあまり発展しない。なぜかというとその東京の周りに住んでる人は 仕事とかやりたかったら東京まで行く。なぜか地下鉄で行けるから。それで、東京はだんだん大きくなってるんだけど、その田舎の東京の周りはだんだんなんかその力がなくなっている気がする。なんか会社とかはないし、若い人はいつもでも東京に行くから。ということは、田舎に住んでる時に他の行ける場所がない。なんか友達とのなんかなんかやりたかったら大きな町に行くしかないって感じ。
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
で、それも交通機関がいいから、こういうことになってると思う。なんかアメリカでは、私がアイダホに関しては、なんかどこかに行くために7時間かかるので、なんていうか、引っ越さなくちゃいけない。他の仕事で、なんか他の州で仕事をしたいとき。なんか、めんどくさいから、他の州に行くよりも自分でなんか住んでる場所に会社を作りたいとか、面白い場所を作りたいとか、そういうことが多いと思う。でもなんか日本ではその一番賑やかな街は発展してるからみんなが簡単に行けるから発展し続けるけど、他のあまり人気じゃないところはあまり発展しないとも思った。
I mean, that's why Eon exists. Yeah, to bring the joy to people in the countryside.
Oh, Eon. Yeah, so.
Yeah.
Eon. I think you said Elon. I was like, Elon Musk.
Yeah.
That's why Elon Musk exists, to bring joy to
What
Japanese old people in Inaka. まあ、このことについて、これはなんか合ってるかどうかわからないんだけど、でもとりあえず、いつも車が悪いと思うけど、他の私がなんか意外とめんどくさいところもある。こんなこと持ってない？全然合ってないと思
いや、別になんかjust go to Tokyo で、yeah, I'm okay, so I don't have any complaint. Yeah.
まあ、私なんかアメリカ人としてそれはちょっともったいないと思ってた。なぜかというと、なんかお金かかる。他の東京まで行くのは、そのお金かかるし、他の家のなんか場所を借りたかったら、それもお金かかるから、でもアメリカの場合だと、その誰かとハングアウトしたかったら、ただなんか無料でその友達の家に行くのが定番なので。
Yeah, but yeah, I'd rather have how do I say, public places, yeah, in the countryside I live. So yeah,
なんか無料で、
public
誰でも行ける場所ってこと？
place.
外とか建物の中？
Yeah,
どっち？
either way.
なるほど。じゃあ、これはなんか文化の違いだけかもしれない。And we're back with the final section. And if you made it to the final section, that means you should send an email to lazyfluency@gmail.com with a question, language related and or otherwise. And this week we have two people who wrote in questions, comments, but one of them has a bunch of small comments inside of it. But anyways, first question comment from HKHK618, which I think who's commented one time before. This is about our religion discussion from last episode. Many Japanese people do not believe in any particular religion. However, Japanese people have long believed that many gods exist in nature. For non-religious Japanese, God is not something that targets a specific believer, but a being that exists in nature beyond human knowledge. Did you have any perspective on this? Because I mean, I have thoughts about belief, but basically she's saying that God to many people is defined more about connecting to nature specifically, which is interesting. As in that's kind of Shinto-y, I feel like.
まあ、そうね。なんかこれもなんか神道の考えと似てんのかわかんないけど、まあ、いろいろ神様がいて、で、なんだろう。そうね。だから、マザーガッドみたいな、なんか、 自然の母。
Mother Nature? Yeah.
そうそう、Mother Nature みたいな。っていう考えはまああるとは思う。
Yeah. She just represents non-religious Japanese. So I find it interesting that this is what would have been what you said about the spiritual notion, like not religious but spiritual. Where, yeah, but that's interesting though, because I'm trying to figure out if this is related to Shinto. If to me, if it says you're not religious Japanese, my implication is we're not talking about Shinto or we're not talking about Buddhism, but it might be, even if it might be people who don't self-identify. I'm saying that maybe the people who don't self-identify probably see nature itself having some sort of like power or characteristic that is beyond like the world that you can't understand. I do find that interesting as compared to like in like at least Catholicism, where God is the one who created nature, but in this perspective, it's more so that nature is God in a sense, if that makes any sense.
そういうの、多分ね、よくパワースポットとかあるから、パワースポットっていうのはなんか行くことでなんかパワーをもらってなんかいいことが起こるよみたいな。多分それ宗教関係、まあしてるとこもあればしてないとこもあると思うけど、だからそういうので多分自然の神みたいなのがいて、でご利益があるよみたいな。
Yeah. Well, I'm just wondering if, this is like a being that exists in nature. That might be like a god in some sense, but I know there are some perspectives of like even Americans who consider themselves religious to some extent, or not religious, sorry, spiritual to some extent, where it's not really that there's any god attached. It's more so that there are things we don't understand because the world is so large and nature is so large. Kind of almost like a what's the word? What's it called? Lovecraft. There's the beings called like Lovecraftian beings, which are these colossal creatures that are so big that like they make humans seem insignificant, and it kind of comes from it's a whole thing. But basically these whole large beings come from the idea that like the universe is so large that what humans are doing are insignificant, sort of, and it's basically to make people feel like feel personally speaking like their lives are insignificant compared to the universe. But this is like a more positive spin on that with nature. Like nature is so large that it in itself like is beyond our understanding.
ね、HKHK618 さんありがとうございますと。はい。
Yeah. Then the next comment is this one's another one that's touching on religion, and maybe you could answer it better than I could. From Oddity. I was surprised that only 1% of Japan identifies as Christian. Somehow from watching anime, I got the impression that Christianity is big in Japan because it's a relatively common representation in anime, which, by the way, I always found weird. Joey, thoughts? Well, Amy might have more thoughts than I do. I never got the feeling that Japan was that like Christian or in any sense. Although there are representations of it. Like I said, the last thumbnail that we had for the last episode was from a manga called Saints. Was it called Saints Young Men or something? Which is about like Jesus and Buddha as like actual people hanging out together. But I know Korea is very like it's like 30% is Christian or something. But I never got the idea that. Yeah, it's really it's a lot.
日本で学校が結構クリスチャンの学校が多いのはあるね。例えば。
Oh, yeah, you're right.
中学高校もそうだけど、あと大学もクリスチャンのあれどうやって建てられたか分かんないけど、クリスチャンの教えを、なんていうの、学校の教訓にして、建物とかもなんか教会があったりとか、なんかそういう感じのね、とことかいっぱいあるから、でもそういうとこ入る人って必ずしもキリスト教じゃないといけないってわけじゃなくて、何も信じてなくてもキリスト教の学校に入って、で、なぜかっていうと、やっぱりなんていうの、エデュケーショナルのレベルが高いからとか、頭がいいからとかね、そういうことで入る 人がほとんどなんじゃない？わかんないけど。
Yeah, I'm actually very curious about that because even the school I went to studied abroad, I think was religious. Technically speaking, like the founders or whatever. No, I'm saying the school itself isn't like religious. None of the classes were religious. There wasn't church, as far as I understand, that people went to or had to go to. Most people in the school probably don't even know it's religious, if I had to guess.
でもね、あれだよ。ほとんどの学校はちゃんとそういうキリスト教だったらなんかキリスト教のことをやんないといけない。
When did all these? I know there was like a whole. Obviously, there's a history of missionary work in Japan, but I thought that it was largely failed. Obviously, there was also like there obviously are cases where Christianity gets like more prominent in news. Like the person who killed Shinzo Abe's parents apparently were part of, or mother was apparently part of some religious sect or cult. Actually, I think is the more accurate term in this situation. But yeah, no, I guess it is weirdly in some institutions, I guess, is something to learn. But I don't really feel like on a day-to-day. Have you ever met like a Japanese person who identifies as Christian?
学校で一人いたかも。そんぐらい。そもそもね、宗教の話しないから、その人が何かの宗教信じても、わかんない。
Don't you have a friend who does like choir or something?
そうね、やってる人、私の友達でいるけど。
Like religious choir?
ね、賛美歌わかんないけど、聖歌隊けど、信じてるかわからん。けど、中学高校の時に聖書を学校に持ってきてた子はいた。私の学校は全然クリスチャンじゃないんだけど、そのバイブルを持ってきてた人いた。
Yeah. Okay. Well, just because we have two more things to hit. Another comment from Oddity was about fruits. Which and I might actually put this together with I'll tackle the fruit one quickly and then we can move on I think to one of the major ones that so I read somewhere that fruits and vegetables are expensive in Japan because of a historical culture of gifting fruit where it was customary to bring them to shoguns and aristocrats as a deep sign of respect. In addition, viable farmland is scarce in Japan, so farmers elevate growing fruit to a kind of art where they dote over every fruit and veggie so it makes produce more expensive. Did you have any idea of like, this is about why fruit's expensive in Japan? Viable. Like a land that can use as farming land. There's not that much in Japan. If you don't have any ideas, I did like a quick, just because there's something that we want to tackle on and maybe I should have split it up better. I did some research into this and although it seems like a lot of what you're saying is largely true, but when you're talking about like mass produce, which is like potatoes, everything is kind of more expensive, not just like fruits. And it seems like there are a lot of reasons for this in terms of like all land, like post World War II, all land that was owned by like larger feudal lords was separated and you had like individuals had to own them, which means that Japan has a lot of small farms, which is a good thing in one sense, but it also means that you don't have like the benefits of like large industrial farming. And also apparently Japanese consumers are also really picky, supposedly, about the quality of all their fruit and vegetables. So even if like a vegetable has a small amount.
みんなね、気にする人は国産じゃないとやだとか言う人もいるよ。
Yeah, and so like, and even with koksan, like if there's a small like let's say like bruise or anything, like it can get thrown out. So I think those might have to do with that. But yeah, sorry for not being able to give like a full answer, because I want to get around to your last question, which is diet. You said sometimes I watch this YouTuber called Onomappu, and he had an episode where he explained that Asians are relatively thinner because genetically they have a higher resistance to insulin. Are any of these is this true? I mean, do you have thoughts on this? There's a bunch of studies I looked at this, but Aimi is our resident.
なんかそもそもなんだよ。なんか私も調べたんだけど、アジア人は比較的なんかその欧米とかアメリカ人とかに比べてインスリンの抵抗が高いらしいのね。で、そのインスリンっていうのはその細胞の中に まあ糖分ねを取り込んでなんていうの、血液の中の糖を取り込むから、血液はサラサラっていうか、まあ、血液の中の糖分は少なくなるんだけど、その代わりに細胞がまあなんていうの、超えていくっていうか、細胞が糖が使えるようになるのね。で、日本人ってさ、インスリンの抵抗性が高いっていうことは、その細胞に糖が取り込まれないから、その分さ、thin になるじゃん。
Yeah, I mean,
わかる？
yeah, I understand what you're saying, but yeah. So, okay, so you're saying that their resistance to insulin might be correlated with them having lower weight?
そうそう、might be ね、one of the reasons かもしれない。だってそのなんていうの、細胞が大きくならない代わりに糖尿病にはなりやすいの。ダイビリにはなりやすい。なんでかっていうと、その、
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
細胞の中に取り込まれなかった糖ってまだ血液の中にいるからさ、それが、ね、糖尿病に発展していくと。血管がやられて、まあね、神経とかそうそう。
So yeah, this is the interesting paradox that she's talking about. So Japan actually has a really high comparatively rate of diabetes. Like 13% of the population has diabetes, and something called metabolism syndrome, which I've only ever heard talked about in Japan, which is basically a combination of diabetes and high blood pressure, and obesity, which is a result of that. So it's weird. So it's a weird relationship because suppression of insulin or insulin resistance. It does not directly make you fat, but it actually might help make people thinner. But then if you get diabetes from it, then that can make you fat because diabetes can correlate with higher BMI, which is something that I saw mentioned frequently in studies on this subject. I don't know what the conclusive research is on this. I looked at like middle-aged populations and some other frequently cited studies, and it seemed like there were a lot of factors that are being attributed, and it definitely, I don't think so. Let's say even 13% of the population has diabetes or whatever. People have a high insulin resistance. I don't think that would explain the majority. And it seems like other stuff that people talked about was higher rates of eating, like eating really quickly, and eating foods that have a lot of sugar, like rice, can lead to this higher insulin resistance. Other things I saw said that the weight gain the weight loss might be a result of the exercise that Japanese people get, where they have like almost twice the amount of daily steps as Americans do, which is another thing that
まあ運動もそうだけど、だってポーションも全然違うじゃん。ポーション一人あたりの量がさ、もうアメリカと日本で全然違うわけじゃん。そのいっぱいポーションがね多かったらその分さ取り込む糖とかも多いわけだからさ。でそれでまあインスリンがそうめっちゃ出て、でまあそれが細胞の中取り込まれてのまあfat になるっていう。
Yeah. I mean, there's also a portion of,
あとまあ、遺伝とかもあるんだよ。
Yeah. Because we mentioned earlier, there's actually a lot of unhealthy stuff in the Japanese diet, but if you're going like stuff that you don't eat out and you're avoiding rice, the rest is actually pretty, with like fish, it's similar-ish to Mediterranean diet, where you have fish, beans, and stuff like that, which is generally healthy. But like I said, the high rice, the white rice, is not necessarily healthy. So I think it's probably a mixture of a lot of stuff. Low portion sizes compared to like American diets, lots more walking, like almost double the average amount of walking. Something I found was interesting that when I was looking into this, it said like one survey that was done in like 2021 said like 60% of people reported not doing any exercise, like mataku, like at all. But it's because they don't consider the walking exercise. And so, yeah, there's a lot of reasons for it.
ああ、確かに。確かにウォークはエクササイズと思わないわ。
Yeah. But I mean, people just do walk a lot. Like when we were walking around Kyoto last week, we literally walked like 30 kilometers, 25 kilometers, 30 kilometers.
あれね、
yeah.
Still, I don't consider it as an exercise though.
Yeah. So maybe those are some reasons. I might have put too many questions or answering too many questions in this end segment here. But yeah, thank you so much. We appreciate your questions. And yeah. That bell means we've reached the end of today's episode. Thanks for joining us in another lazy conversation towards fluency. If you have any language-related questions and are just looking for general advice, send an email to lazyfluency@gmail.com and we might respond in the next episode. Also, make sure to check out our podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, and more. We'd appreciate the support. This has been Joey.
And Yummy.
Signing off. じゃあねー。
じゃあねー。